All right, Kalle. Firstly, great night of boxing. Well done for bringing boxing to Newcastle. The highs and lows of boxing. Last week you didn't get the British, but this week you have.
Yeah, I mean, last week was sweet bitter because it started on the Friday night. Harlem Eubank, fantastic performance, massive viewing numbers. You know, Chloe Watson, great performance. We had a really great night on the Friday. Went across London on the Saturday night to Wembley Arena, and unfortunately for Nathan Gorman, it wasn't our night. He'll come again, 26 years old, and we'll be firmly behind him. You know, you got to back your man when he's down as well when he's up. So we're one family, one team, and then you know roll on Newcastle 6 days later, and here we are. And I am proud as a peacock over my boy Josh Kelly. Fantastic, great stuff, great night, great atmosphere. Lyndon Arthur as a co-feature, I thought really did a good job on what potentially could have been a sticky wicket, banana skin. Yeah, Ben Marksby I thought was a great fight on the undercard. I thought some cracking fights tonight, but Ben Marksby was the one who sort of stuck out on the undercard.
Yeah, I agree. And Ewan McKenzie as well did very well.
Yeah. You know, unfortunately, I had to do a lot of running around during it, so I didn't see everything. But I'm going to have a good look back at it tomorrow. Some fights I watched only in bits, so I don't have the pleasure of watching everything in full length, unfortunately. But I'll go back and have a look at that tomorrow. It was a great night, and I love Newcastle. The atmosphere up here is if you watch it between rounds when they're singing and dancing,
mad, isn't it?
It's just, you know, and their man was down. But the thing was, their man was losing. I think everyone knew he was losing, but they were still having a great night out. And you know, sport for them, it wasn't the right thing sporting wise, but you know, apart from a couple of silly incidents, it was mostly overall a peaceful evening. You know, in what could have been very different. So it was good. It was great to see people enjoying themselves on a night out. Yeah.
It was very one-sided though, wasn't it?
You know,
I know Troy was competitive, but
I mean, it was one-sided because of the way, you know, they came up with a master plan and they executed it to perfection. Those plans, they're very difficult to do over 12 rounds. Yeah, they're, and it sounds easy on box off the ropes, move, make him miss, and then throw sharp counters. That sounds very simple, doesn't it? But to do that in that atmosphere with that sort of pressure on him,
but he enjoyed it as well.
And that was the thing. Yeah. For me, it was amazing that he held the concentration for the full 12. It wasn't a round that he took off. It wasn't a single round when he took off. I've got, and I'm wearing Josh Kelly glasses on here. I find it very difficult to give the other man a round. I really do. And I'm sure I look back at it, I see there were probably a few rounds to give him. That's when I cheer for one guy. I never like to say how I scored the fight because I normally get embarrassed when I look at it back the next day. But it was a masterclass. I think Troy, though, you know, he would have had a lot of eyeballs tonight. I think he's added to his stock. I know he's lost, but he'll come back. He's a very good fighter. He met a special fighter tonight, to be honest, on top of his game. And what I was so impressed by was the concentration through the 12 rounds. And like you said, he was in there enjoying himself. It wasn't like he was in a fight with himself. He was just relaxed, you know. He was singing and dancing between rounds. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. The dressing room before the fight, incredible. Cool. They asked me to put a little dance on for them. You know, they were giggling at my dancing, but very relaxed. He was totally in a zone, but in a good place, and it was amazing to see.
Well, I had to laugh at one point because I was right in front of Josh and Troy. You know, the clinch, and the fight broke out behind me, and Josh turned around to Troy and went, "There's a fight in the crowd, you know."
Yeah, who said that? To Troy?
Yeah, Josh said that to Troy.
Troy, Josh.
The fight in the crowd, you know. It's mad.
I think they, you know, they were, you know, especially yesterday. The nice thing is when you saw that face-off, it was very intense, but it was always respectful. Yeah, and they showed great respect in the ring with each other afterwards. You know, they don't not like each other. Let's be honest about it. promoting other fights at the moment. You know, I don't know, Eubank Smith. They certainly will never like each other, but they're different characters. These guys, both from the northeast, they've known each other through the boxing world, you know, since many years, and I think they've got great respect for each other. And once again, I do think Troy will come again. There was, you know, he fought a rough and tough fight. He was getting frustrated. I think the head went in a little bit much for my liking in the end, but I think that was down to frustration as well. Yeah, I mean, I thought the ref could have stepped in with a point as I know earlier before there was that cut. It was a bit unnecessary, but yeah, I'm not going to moan. I'm not going to take anything away from tonight. And both gladiators, fantastic.
I mean, overall, it's a fantastic night from top to bottom. But moving on to other things quickly, Filip Hrgovic, is he still refusing to step aside? Which, by the way, I don't blame him.
I'll tell you what, we'll do it this way.
We'll
do it this way, Martin. I'll give you his address, and I'll even pay for your ticket to Croatia. You pop by his house and ask him if he's going to step aside. I think that's the way we're going to solve this. Because if I tell him to step aside, it will be a stop for me. You won't ever be able to interview me again. Nor will anyone else. Because he's going to take my tongue out my mouth and put it somewhere where the sun doesn't shine. There's no effing way he's stepping aside, not bloody chance. But it will be about
get that belt and then go fight the winner for Undisputed yourself.
It'll be about what the IBF decides within their rule, and that they've made that decision to a certain degree by declaring the mandatory, asking for us to negotiate, and us calling a purse bid. So we can't really look at anything else that's going on. We can only follow what the IBF rules are, and they're very simple, and they're very tough on those rules. So I don't see what would be any different now.
Have you had that conversation with Eddie about Hrgovic Joshua for the belt? As that seems to be the order with the IBF at the minute.
Of course we have.
Yeah?
No, I mean,
75% Hrgovic, huh?
Yeah, exactly. A purse bid.
Yeah.
Straight away. But I mean, you know, to be honest, I mean, I've thought about that scenario, of course, but it's first and foremost, he'd rather fight. He's like that, Filip. He'd rather fight Usyk. He'd rather fight the champion for his belt. He don't want to fight for a vacant belt. But as a promoter, of course, I look at that scenario. Of course. Different intentions.
Okay. Now, are you surprised about the lack of media for the Zolani Tete situation, considering the overdrive media for Conor Benn? I know it's a hard one to answer.
I hear what you're saying. I promoted Zolani Tete in the World Boxing Super Series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about that situation to comment on it, so I can only comment on the fact that he's been caught with a substance, but you know, he's different. Conor Benn is obviously a much bigger name and was involved in or supposed to be involved in an iconic fight.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll finish up with any World Boxing Super Series news.
With them in January, hopefully now. And people will say, oh, COVID, you can't still talk about COVID. Well, when you do a season, you have to look at a world situation. So mid-January, we'll have a meeting and work from there. They're very much ready to want to go, and they've got different ideas. I was there last month. You know, there's a lot of time and love and money gone into that project, and you know, they're very much for absolutely rocking it again.
And are you up for doing it again?
Of course.
Channel 5?
Imagine that on terrestrial. That's all I'll say.
Come on. All right, your press conference is starting.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, buddy.
Thanks.